good, boss.
Call to order our city council meeting of September 25th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Our roll call, everyone's present except for the mayor who's called in and Tim Dixon who's called in. So everyone's present either by phone or in the chambers. We'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance given by Robert Black, followed by an invocation by Kip Myers.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our gracious Father God, we thank you tonight that we can be gathered here in your presence. And Father, we are so grateful that you, who are the source of all that is good and right and noble, care about us enough that you want to be here in our midst. And Father, we look to our national motto that we trust in you. And so Father, as such, we ask that you would pour out your wisdom abundantly upon this council, upon those that represent us in this city, that we in fact might come together as a community and represent the things that are true and right and noble. We give you praise and thanks in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. So we go on to item number 4, which is the introduction of new employees. Andrew, who would you introduce them, city manager?
Yeah, this is Andrew. We just hired him on. It's been 2 weeks already.
Yeah, it's been the third week.
Third week already. He's on the street department under Jason Reyes, and he's been a really great hire so far. So we appreciate him.
Well, welcome.
Welcome, Andrew.
We're glad to have you.
Awesome. Yeah, it's Andrew Salmi. Pleasure being working here. Thank you guys.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you don't have to stay if you don't want
Okay.
to. Thank you.
Yeah, I gotta
Thank
take my
you.
voice from practice.
Yeah.
Has everyone had the opportunity to look at the consent agenda?
Yes, I make a motion that we accept the September 10th, 2024 consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. Okay, call to the public for non-agenda items. Are there any?
There are none.
There are none. Call to the public for agenda items.
There are none.
There are none. Okay, item number 8, new business, discussion of possible action. There's an ordinance 2405, authorizing the lease of certain municipal real estate properties to the Navajo County Hash Knife Sheriff Posse Search and Rescue. Now, this isn't quite in order, and so is there a motion that we could postpone this till the next?
There are some discrepancies in there, and I think Sharon's taking care of those with our attorneys, but as of right now, it's not finalized. So I make a motion that we table this until our next,
October 9th meeting.
what's that?
October 9th meeting
October
would be
9th
the next
meeting.
one.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, so that's postponed until our next meeting. Item number B, the ordinance 2406, which is tab 2.
It's actually tab 3.
Tab 3, I'm sorry.
Just to let you know, Kathleen texted me and said that keeps cutting out a little bit, so I haven't heard much out of them, so.
Are you still there, Kathleen? Tim?
I am. I don't know if Tim's having the same issue, but
Okay.
2 or 3 times it just cuts out, and so I can't hear anything. You too, Tim?
Yeah, Mike, you guys are cutting in and out.
I'll try and speak into the microphone better. Okay,
I think it's more technology based, but I might just try calling back in.
okay,
When in doubt, unplug, right? Start over, reboot. So you can keep going, but I'll just go ahead and recall in, because it's not even just, we can't hear you, it just literally goes completely silent.
okay,
Yeah, on my
All right,
end too.
keep going and I'll call back in.
okay, we'll answer when you call.
All right, thanks.
Okay, ordinance 2406 is an ordinance of the city of Holbrook, Arizona, authorizing the lease of certain municipal real property to Daniel Hutchins and authorizing the mayor and the city manager and the city clerk and the city attorney to execute said lease agreement and take all actions necessary to complete this transaction. Now, we've discussed this several times before. It's about the motocross park. Let's see, this is the first reading of this. So,
First or second?
This is first reading of the ordinance.
the first reading of the ordinance.
Okay.
Do we,
No, there's no action, you just,
okay. Is there any discussion on this item?
I think we're good.
Yeah, I think, yeah, go ahead, Tim.
So you cut out real bad for a few seconds there. Are we still on, item B?
Item B, the
Okay.
motocross park.
Ordinance 24-06.
Since this is the first reading, we just go on without any action, right? If, I personally think this is great. I don't see how we could possibly lose with this action, bring people to Holbrook. We'll get revenue from a piece of property that doesn't generate any, so,
I agree.
okay, let's,
I have a question. This, if this is the first reading, then this is one that's already been signed and everything else, so do we make a motion to accept, or what do? We just leave it alone?
You just leave it alone because this actually ratifies the lease agreement. So you have the first reading.
Okay.
And then the second reading will be on the 9th, and then you're done. You accept you pass the ordinance on the 9th, and then everything is done and the contract is ratified and legal.
Okay, very good, thank you.
okay, moving on to item C, ordinance 2407. And this is the first reading. And this is an ordinance of the city of Holbrook, Arizona, authorizing the sale of certain municipal real property to Northland Pioneer College and authorizing the mayor, the city manager, and the city clerk and the city attorney to execute said purchase and sale agreements and take all actions necessary to complete the transaction. So we were gonna sell 2 parcels of our land for $4,900 and $4,200 to NPC so they could build spec houses on it. Is there any discussion on this?
I think we're good.
Another slam dunk, I think. I think that can only. Tim or Mayor, did you have anything to add there?
Nope, I completely support it.
Okay.
Mike, I have a question for the city manager on this. How many bids did we receive on this?
How many bids?
Yes.
There are no bids. Council didn't require bids to go out. And that was something that, I sent all the council members, the legal counsel's comments on that, and I didn't hear anything from any of the council members.
That's because we
It's
are a
not
charter
required.
city, we didn't have to.
Correct.
That's right.
Correct.
So there were no bids. This was the only, but again, it's 2 pieces of unused property where we'll gain revenue. And
And housing for
And
the
housing,
community.
low-cost housing, so. Is there any other discussion? Tim, did you have any other questions?
No, not on this first reading.
Okay. Okay, item D. Okay, now this is the first reading of an ordinance of the city of Holbrook, Arizona, adopting the city-provided cell phone policy and attendant employee acknowledgement. So, can we turn the time over to the city manager to explain this to us? And
Sure, so right now, city employees, that need to have cell phones, their supervisors and some department employees, like your streets department, public works, that need to have phones. They've been using their own phones and then being paid stipends for those phones. Misty Hatch has done a great job in reviewing our policies and, our expenses for just about everything, really. And we found that if we purchase phones, it costs us less to purchase the phone and have those phones insured than it does to pay the stipends out to the employees. On another note, when an employee, if there's any call for public information, those employees' phones could be used, taken away from those employees, even though they're their own individual phones. If they have communications that has to do with the city, there's a possibility that their phones could be confiscated. So we're trying to eliminate that issue as well as saving money on the stipends that we pay out in stipends than buying a phone right out and having them covered under the same policy.
so it'd be a net savings of how much?
Oh, I believe that was in
About $900 a month.
900 a month.
Not 900 a month, significant amount. Is there any discussion, Terry?
Is this a new policy or is this just an update of a current policy that
New
we have?
policy.
It's new? And so how many current employees do have cell phones?
I don't have those figures. It's probably about 20.
It's
at
all the
least 20.
department heads and then everybody in the water department, cause they're on call. They're all paid stipends.
So the,
So-
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So the city provided cell phones will just be used for city business. They will
Correct.
not use those for any personal calls. They would have to pay for their own cell phone so they'd
Yes,
have
that's
two
right.
separate phones.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
And you said it's the water department, the department heads,
And all the
All the
supervisors.
supervisors.
the supervisors and department heads are different, or are they the same person?
Oh, yeah,
The-
supervisors and department heads.
And you said currently we have 20 people who are required to have to answer after hours?
That, we
Or
don't
how
know
many
the
we-
exact.
I
many are
can
we
get
paying?
exact numbers
Oh, we
from,
don't know how many we're paying a stipend for?
Yeah, I don't know it for sure right now, so.
And how many phones are we looking at purchasing? About 20? The same amount that we're paying stipends for?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
and I think the ordinance is about the policy, not whether we're getting the phones or not, but it's,
Right.
the ordinance is on the policy and the acknowledgements.
So if it's, I don't know if it covers under the policy, so if they are provided a work cell phone and they are on call, are they required to answer that phone?
Yes.
Yes, when
Okay.
they're on call.
Okay.
I have a question. When you're figuring the stipends that you're paying out, how are you figuring that? How are you figuring what you're paying? Are you paying the whole phone bill that they have?
Well, it's, right now it's personal, so when we went to the personal phones, instead of carrying two phones, at that time, this was probably 8-9 years ago, it was cheaper to pay the stipend. Now it's kinda gone the other way to where it's cheaper,
Was $50.
yeah,
$50 a
Verizon's
month
bills have
stipend.
came way down
Yeah.
now on a government rate, so now it's cheaper to go this way.
20 people, 20 phones, that's gonna be more than $900.
That's the savings that we have. the savings, 900 a month.
Cause it
From what
was
we're paying out
costing-
in stipends to what the plan that we'd have to purchase and have insurance on the phones that we're purchasing.
So was it a flat stipend, like a?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But the stipends amounted to like to $22.50,
Yeah, it's a lot,
and then with getting the phones, it'll save us $900.
right.
Well, you'd say that, but I mean, you haven't purchased the phones yet either. I mean, how much are the phones gonna cost you?
I believe the way Misty, had it is, if we sign up for, 2-year contracts on the phones, then we get the phones free. And we're just paying the monthly bill, which I think was $39 a person, a phone.
Didn't the radio, like didn't the employees, city employees like the PD have radios a while back?
Yeah, so most of the, police department will do that, have that, but like chief and, Jed, the ones that, city staff have to call for administrative things, we don't have a radio to call them, so we gotta call them personally
On a phone.
on a phone. And if they're out in the field, then they gotta be able to be contacted somehow. And same thing with, the water department. When the water department is on duty, they're expected to take those phone calls after hours on those duty hours. And not only that, when we do the rounds and everything on the weekends, we have the ability to look on our SCADA system to see where our wells are doing, those kind of things, cause we gotta make adjustments throughout the day sometimes, depending on what our SCADA looks like.
How are you gonna monitor to make sure that those phones are just used for city use and not personal use?
That's why you created this policy.
I don't see how you're gonna monitor that.
I don't think,
Well, I don't think it would bother me if
I could care less.
somebody had a city cell phone and they called home. Hey honey, I'm still on this water leak for another hour or two. I mean, I think there's reasonable use of personal,
We don't have to pay minutes anymore.
right, we don't pay minutes anymore.
Well, I think that is in the policy, isn't it, that they can make a short phone call if they need it? Did you?
I mean,
Yeah, it does
I
say
read the
something
policy.
like that.
I'm pretty
in the
sure they're
policy.
not gonna like turn off their personal line and just use a city issued phone.
Yeah, it says, but in the event that an employee elects to make or receive a personal call on a city-provided cell phone, such personal calls should be kept to a minimum and should be made on the employee's own time, such as breaks or lunch, or before or after work hours.
Yeah. A lot of companies do this, a lot of cities do this already, it's,
It covers your city also.
right, and you get better. I know it, when I worked at APS, when we issued people phones, then all of a sudden, it was easier to find people that were on call, because they had the phone. And it, way easier than when you were trying to call them on their other phone.
Well, I was just wondering, because if you read the policy, it says that they agree to use this phone for city business only, and I understand the city of Holbrook will audit the use of the phone and report any discrepancy, so I'm trying to figure out how the city's gonna to do that.
I know at APS, we did it with, like minutes, like, you know, the average person had 120 minutes, let's say, in a month. Well, this person had 8,000 minutes. It shows
And
up.
most of the programs now are unlimited text
Yeah,
messaging and things like that. I mean, I think if we find that it's really a concern, Misty can, call in an audit and chief, give me your phone, I need to check your text messages, are they personal or are they, I mean, we at this point trust our employees to follow our policy and procedures and aren't going to immediately, you know, every month ask them to audit their phones, but we just lose confidence, or our employees would lose confidence in us, and personally, I wouldn't wanna take that route with them unless we absolutely see a problem.
I agree. I have one other question.
yes,
So you said currently we were paying about $50 a month
To
as the
those
stipend,
individuals.
for the stipend, to the individuals who were required to answer. But you said that right now, it'll be about 20 people who will be required to have a city-issued cell phone?
Roughly, I don't have those figures. Misty has the exact list. I can get that to you if you want that.
Because if we were paying $50 a month, and we were spending $2,250 a month on that stipend, that's 45 employees that we were paying stipends for that were required to answer. So that's half of the
That's why I said,
amount.
don't quote me on the
Okay.
numbers. Misty has the
45
exact figures.
people, that's like,
We don't have 45 employees.
yeah. Cause that's what, I mean, $50 divided by 2250 divided by 50 is 45 employees. So unless we were paying more than 50,
I can get that information to you.
I'm all
Do all
for
of you
it.
want
I'm
that? I
definitely all
can send it
for
to all of
city
you.
issued, but I mean, I don't wanna issue 45 phones either, if that's what we were requiring.
It's not 45. I'm estimating we've got, 33, 35 employees.
And not all of those are gonna need city phones, right?
Correct,
Just your
correct.
department heads and are you saying the whole water department needs them, Randy?
But
Yeah,
there's-
they will, cause
Yeah.
they're on call.
But there's
They're
only,
expected to answer
5
the
people
phone.
at the water department,
We
6
got,
people?
we have 6,
So you-
7 and budgeted, so.
And your department, your supervisors, we're pretty much looking at about 20 phones, correct?
That's-
Ish?
Mhm.
Yeah, cause that number is kinda off. If we were paying that much, there would be another issue.
I will get you the exact numbers.
Thanks.
Is there any
So
other?
Vice Mayor Nelson?
Yes, go ahead,
Yeah.
Mayor.
So, and just to clarify, we are just voting tonight on the ordinance and not necessarily the budget and
Correct.
things like that?
And this is just the first read as well, so.
Yeah.
Correct. So we keep that in mind as we go to the vote next week, or next meeting, that is the ordinance that we gotta make sure we're good with. So, that's all I had.
Thank you, Mayor. Any other discussion? Okay.
Mike, I
Yes.
just have a comment or a suggestion.
Yes,
I think we do need to hold employees accountable, and that they should be subjected to periodic random checks of texts and phone calls and things like that. That would help them move the line and make sure that they're following the policy.
thank you. So noted that suggestion.
There might be
I
you
think
might want
something's in here.
Yeah.
In the policy, doesn't, something
Right.
like that, say something like
The
that
city
in the
reserves the
policy?
right to review, audit, and inspect city-issued cell phone records, call logs, and text messages at any time, with or without notice.
Okay.
And that's what the ordinance is for the policy
Right.
itself.
I mean, you probably wanna
So
put in there
it's
that
saying whether or not you agree with the
this,
policy,
like,
not getting the cell phones.
the public can request or subpoena your phone for whatever reason.
It,
Just so that the employees know, like, you probably don't wanna be posting on Facebook on your work phone, and, cause you don't want that taken. So-
well,
Mike.
we have social media policy in our employee manual anyway,
Just a second,
so
Tim.
that's,
And whoever gets,
Okay.
issued a phone will have to sign that agreement saying that they've read the policy.
right.
So they should know that.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead, Tim.
So I would also suggest that if that is part of the policy, where we have random periodic checks, that does happen, whether it's the city manager or someone in her stead that does those checks. A policy or a rule is no good unless you enforce it.
Right.
Thank you, Mike.
And I'm trying to figure out how you're gonna do that. How you're gonna audit those phones.
So if they're city phones, you can
Let me worry about it.
get the phone itself,
No.
and you should be able to also check the records with our provider and be able to see every call that was made and or received and the text messages that were sent and received.
Right. I remember
That
one,
should be pretty easy.
I remember one time going through my personal phone log for my cell phone company and seeing that I had 358 texts to American Idol one time. When that was a thing. Okay, Is there any other discussion? Okay, moving on
Well,
to.
you
Wait.
didn't read that by heading.
Oh, I didn't read it?
No.
Thank you. Thank you for keeping me honest. And it is an ordinance of the city of Holbrook, Arizona, adopting the city-provided cell phone policy and attendant employee acknowledgement, as read by heading. Okay, now moving on. This is tab 6. The city of Holbrook received an FAA grant to reconstruct the airport apron. Armstrong Consulting placed the construction plans out to bid. These bids were received. The bid amount is $2,606,031.50, which is 91.06% of federal funding. The city of Holbrook has required grant match of $126,762.50. Alternatives, we could reject all bids and rebid, and the request for the council action is award the bid to J. Bianchi Construction or Bianchi Construction Incorporated in the amount of $2,606,031.50. Randy, did you want to?
Sure, I'll just add a little bit more information. Armstrong Consultant is our airport consultant. He helps us set the grants and 5-year plans with the FAA. This year, the apron was set to be reconstructed. The last year was the taxiway, and the year before that was the runway. So this is one of the last pieces to get rehabbed. They sent it out to 36 potential bidders. Of the 36, 12 were interested in the project, and in the end, these 3 were the ones that submitted the plans. And in their letter here, they just state that everything, according to Armstrong Consulting, looked legit on the fee schedules.
And your recommendation is that we approve J. Bianchi Construction Incorporated?
Correct, for $2,606,031.50.
After this is done, how long does that last approximately? Like 20 years?
Well, the runway or the taxiway will be done, and then we'll have to have some more chip seals and fog seals in the future years to help keep it protected. But yeah, this will give us another 20 or so years on it, depending on the oil and chip seals and stuff that we do to upkeep it.
Mike?
Yes, sir.
Just a question, Randy. The use of the airport, I mean, who primarily uses that, and, I mean, how much is it used?
We have a very small airport. The main users is UPS flies in every day. So that's basically it. Everything else is mainly, there's probably, I want to say 15 planes that fly in and out of it a week.
We have hangars for.
And we do have some private
12.
hangars too.
12 planes.
But we also have private individuals that have planes up there?
Yeah. And then once a year, we actually have, well, we kind of call them the breakfast club, but there's probably 10 or so planes that fly from Heber and come and have breakfast here. And they just come here
Fly
to
in, fly out.
fly in and fly out, have breakfast, and
Wings of
just
Faith
utilize
also
it.
has who's a charitable organization that helps supply the Bread of Life and Catholic Charities and the food bank,
Right.
with food. They have a hangar there, and they fly in at
Right.
least quarterly. Well, they probably fly in monthly and distribute quarterly.
We do also have a helipad over there for any rescue needs that we may need.
So, go ahead.
Just for those of us who are unfamiliar with airport terminology, can you explain what the apron portion is?
Apron is where you fly in and dock your plane. So you gotta have ties down so they don't blow away in our wind, those kind of things.
Okay. And one more thing, you said we are approving the amount of 2,000 or 2,606,000. Are we?
Yeah.
That's the portion that is federally funded, but we are required to
No,
match
that-
that with 126.
Yeah, so yeah, correct. That's
Okay, so
correct.
we're not approving like 2.6 million.
No.
We're approving 126,000.
No, we are requesting you to approve that contract with Jay Benaki for that 2.6 is what I'm asking you for.
To accept the funds
Oh,
from
to
the
accept
city
the
and
funds.
to
Okay.
disperse them
Yes,
to.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Thanks.
Vice Mayor? No,
Yes, Mayor.
I was just wondering if Randy or somebody can answer, do we know where this construction company is based out of?
I don't know for sure. I'm trying to look and see what they are in the bids. Yeah, I don't have that information with me right now.
And it looks like
Yeah, I
it's
appreciate
Phoenix.
it.
Robert, you had
Jay
a,
Bannicky Construction's out of Phoenix.
Out of Phoenix?
That's what it says online.
so the answer's Phoenix, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
So Robert, you had a,
Yeah, just a quick question. Is there any benefits to the city I think there should be, for us to have a FFA airport in this city? I mean, is there any benefits at all, other than, UPS flight? Do we get any, not kickbacks or anything, but anybody subsidize it, or are we just the sole owner of that?
That's why we are, it's heavily granted because federal funds really like to have airports available to communities. And so that's why they're always heavily federally funded. There are other benefits. I mean, that airport used to be really hopping, and it's changed now, but we do have a fuel pump up there, so individuals can come and fly in and get fuel and fly back out too as
And that's a major benefit for a small airport. I'd have to say that, you're lucky to have the relationship with this company that works with the FAA, because you can get this funding. Technically, this airport does not have a tower, so they don't have to be regulated by FAA. But I think you have the benefit that you have that relationship because you're getting this funding. If you didn't have it, you'd be paying out this money to fix the apron and the runway. And to Randy's point, if the airport was hopping before, there's no reason that we can't make it hop again.
I think it's a great idea we even have one. I
Yeah.
am
I do too.
beyond thankful we
I
have
think
one.
it's a good thing to have
If
one.
we grow, we may need it.
is,
I make a motion to approve the funding.
This is just the first
Oh,
reading,
never
so.
mind.
What?
No,
No,
Mike?
this is an
no,
award.
yeah,
Is this one?
this
Oh, this is the
awarded
bid, I'm
bid,
sorry.
yeah, this
I'm
is
sorry.
awarded bid.
so there's been a motion
Vice Mayor?
to accept this. Tim, did you have some discussion, or did you want to second that?
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask Randy, it seems like it wasn't too long ago that we approved, work on the apron. When was the last time that we worked on the apron?
I think that was just a fog seal to try to get the apron to this point to where we could actually rehab it.
Okay, and this would be the total reconstruction?
Yes,
Apron? Is what I'm reading here?
yes,
So that would be torn up completely and reconstructed?
correct. And this is the first time we've had this grant since I've been here, so it's been over 15 years.
Okay, And somebody mentioned Wings of Faith being up there, and they do distribution not only for Bread of Life and Catholic Charities, but they do a major distribution to the Navajo Indian Reservation and the Apache Indian Reservation periodically. So that's something that our friends to the north and to the south really benefit from. So it's not just necessarily what we do in Holbrook, but what we do in outlying areas. And Wings of Faith has been an incredible benefit to our community, and again, the Navajo Indian Reservation and Apache as well. So this item F is to go ahead and move forward with this, correct? And the $2.6 million from the federal fund and our match of how much, Randy?
$126,662.50, which,
Okay, and is that budgeted for this year?
correct.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
He
Yes.
said
Yes.
yes.
For this current year? Okay, thank you. All right, I second that motion.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? So there's been a motion that we accept this bid and it's been seconded. Do we need to vote by
You
roll
can,
call?
you don't have to unless somebody wants to.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And so the voting has been unanimous. Okay, moving on to tab number 7. The city was awarded a grant to upgrade and install new meters throughout the city. The original idea was to install the meters in-house as time permits. City administration would like to push this through in a timelier manner, and to do so need some outside help. This would allow us to install meters a lot sooner. And Randy, Randy, would you like to
Yeah,
address this?
So this is piggybacking off of the town of Payson and San Luis, I believe it's San Luis. They went out to bid for water meters and installation. When we originally went out to bid, we just went for the meters. We were gonna do it in-house. They picked Census as well, but Census also has a third party that is willing to install the meters. And so San Luis and Payson entered into a contract with Census to help install the meters as well. And so I am asking the council to approve this agreement with Dana Kepner to allow us to piggyback off of Payson and San Luis and have them install the meters for us. It's gonna be about the same amount of money. We were gonna have to match the grant funds anyways, $170,000. So instead of us matching that $170,000 in-house labor, we'll use that $170,000 to pay Dana Kepner to install the meters.
I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
And instead of having us do it in-house and we were gonna spread it out 2 years, we're hoping Dana Kepner thinks we could get this done within 6 months or so.
And that keeps our employees working on city
Correct.
issues instead of
Installing
having,
meters.
And the meters installed quicker, so if there are any issues with the old ones, we won't have that, because the new meters will be installed.
if there is an issue with that and something does arise when those are installed, are we able to contact the company who installed them to come and fix them?
Yeah,
And it
so
wouldn't take that
at
liability
that
off
point,
us?
we'll try to decide on a case-by-case basis, cause there will be some. And then we'll just decide whether we fix those or they fix them. But either way, it's gonna allow us to be able to fix those faster, cause then we could come in behind them and fix them, and it won't stop us, it won't slow them down either. You know what I mean? And a lot of the issues that are gonna come up are gonna be shut-off valves that are 20, 25 years old. So if they break during this process, we're gonna need to fix them anyway. So it's not gonna matter if it's them breaking it or us breaking it. Eventually, they're just gonna break because they're old.
So Randy, I'm gonna beat Tim to the punch. This $170,000 is budgeted for this year.
Correct, and that was our portion of the grant match for it. So we got a 500 and I think it was, I don't want out. So the total grant was 704,000. Of that, 170 was a grant match, so a little over 500,000 is what we got from the grant to do this.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Mrs. Pack? Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you moved forward. Is it,
I'll make a motion to, award, to enter into contract with Dana Kepner for the meter replacement and installation.
I'll second
there's been a motion and second, is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I,
So it's been unanimous. Okay, moving on to tab number 8. The city of Holbrook has budgeted for 4 new police vehicles. Chief Christensen has compiled the quotes for the new vehicles, attaches the information from Santan Ford for the vehicles. Santan Ford is under state contract, and it gives the number. And the 4 police vehicles would be $196,863.92. And Chief, would you also address the next one at the same time, which is the police vehicle uplifting, which is the 4 police vehicles would be $86,597.39. The city of Holbrook is budgeted for 4 police vehicles. Chief Christensen has compiled the quotes for the new vehicles along with the uplifting, attaches the information for uplifting the vehicles. Airwave Communications is under state contract and it gives the number. So if you could address the vehicle purchase and the uplifting.
Okay. Yeah, so we are in need of vehicles, and we obviously lost one this year to an accident. So we went out early to get on the list to purchase vehicles. Ford only makes vehicles for a certain amount of time, police vehicles. The turnaround time is anywhere from 6 to 8 months, and so we jumped on it quickly to get our vehicles reserved. And so we did go through Santan Ford, who we purchased the last vehicles from under state contract. And we also went through Airwave Communications for the upfitting because we want all the vehicles to be consistently built the same. So if someone has to jump into another vehicle, the light switches, everything's in the same place, and so they're not have to re-familiarize themselves with another vehicle. So we want to go with a consistent upfitter so that our vehicles are the same.
These 4 vehicles were budgeted. At first, it was only 3 budgeted, but right at the last second when that one vehicle accident happened, we did put a 4th one in the budget. So it is budgeted. Unfortunately, at the time, we were also trying to get a grant to pay for those vehicles. We were unsuccessful in that grant, so this will come out of the general fund budget.
So, sorry.
Terry, I thought Terry moved her hand.
That's fine, yes. How many, vehicles do we currently have?
Well, currently, right now, I have 2 extra vehicles. So, and there's 8 of us, so I have 10 vehicles.
So 10 vehicles?
Yes.
And we got 3 in 2022, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and those, do you know like the year of those vehicles
So
and the
we-
mileage on them?
We got 3 last year. They were 2023 model vehicles.
Oh,
These are
okay.
2025 model. One has 5,000, one has 10,000, one has 8,000, I believe. The other vehicles are anywhere between 20 and 40,000 of the 2 other new vehicles. Our remaining vehicles are at or close to 100,000 miles
Okay.
of the remaining vehicles.
All right, and then is Santan Ford the only car dealership that's under state contract, or is that just the one that we decided to go with?
Yeah, no, most of the time, they are, basically, cause they're doing it not just for Little Holbrook, they're doing it for City of Phoenix, and they're doing hundreds and hundreds of cars. So once the state contract comes out to those dealers, it's mainly those dealers that are handling it.
So, but is there other ones besides Santan Ford that we could have checked with that are state contract? Would they
That I don't
possibly
know
be cheaper?
because they're just under state contract, so we were just, trying to get on the same bid as the City of Phoenix and all the other big ones.
So if you get on the same bid, pretty much might get a cheaper.
Yeah, cause what state contract is saying is the state is going out to bid for us and says, the state says, we're gonna buy 5,000 vehicles this year. What kind of price can you give me, Ford? What kind of price can you give me, Chevy? And then these dealerships give those contracts to the state. So when the state awards the lowest bidder, then we're allowed to use the same lowest bidder as the state. And same thing for Phoenix or anybody else. So they're doing the competitive bidding for us. But in reality, they're gonna get it way cheaper than what we can. Because if we're only gonna ask for 4 vehicles versus the state asking for 5,000, they're gonna give a way bigger discount to the bulk, you know what I mean?
But in answer to your question, yes, there are probably other dealerships out there. And we could have gone through, we're a member of Sourcewell. That's another type of state consortium that they're already checked through other agencies that you can go through, and you don't have to get 3 quotes if somebody can give you a good price. But since the police vehicles have already been purchased through Santan, it only makes sense to stay with that same dealership to purchase future vehicles.
Yeah, and that kinda goes back too, so you could still call, most dealerships and say, hey, I'm getting this price from Santan under state contract. If you call a different dealership and you say, what's the price, state contract this, it's gonna match, because at that time, you're dealing with you're not necessarily dealing with the dealership, you're dealing with the manufacturer and the manufacturing price.
Robert, you had?
So the way I'm reading this, and we'll have to split it up when you do
Right.
make a motion on it, but the way I'm reading this is, we did budget for the police vehicles, correct?
Correct.
But we did not budget for this uplifting is almost 2/3.
We did that too.
Oh, it doesn't say that.
Yeah, we did budget for uplifting too. That's, the uplifting is all the decals, all the lights, all the extra.
Bumper guards.
Yeah, all the extra shiny
Bells and-
things
But
that
that,
make
now,
it
is
a
that a
police vehicle.
state deal too? I mean, was that under a state bid?
Yeah,
With
they're
this
under-
Airway, this,
Airwave is under state bid too, and they are always way, way cheaper than anybody else.
okay.
I have a question.
Yes, Arsenio.
So just to clarify, you said we have 8 officers, we have 2 extra vehicles right now with a total of 10 vehicles, and we bought 3 in, it looks like it was approved in November of 22, and they were purchased in early 23, correct?
You're talking the last vehicles?
Yeah, the last 3 that we just, okay. And those ones have 10,000, 5,000, and 8,000 miles, and you said then you have vehicles between 20 and 40,000, and the remaining are over 100,000. Which ones are the ones that are over 100,000? We're gonna repurpose those, I'm sure. And are these replacing the ones over 100,000?
No, we're not replacing any vehicles. We have to have extra vehicles for downtime. We recently had one of our trucks in the shop for, 2.5 months? So we have to have extra vehicles for those types of situations. And then you have to have extra vehicles in case you have an unfortunate accident where.
So this is gonna put us at.
And we
14
haven't been
police
fully
vehicles?
staffed either, so the goal is to be fully staffed, and that'd be 12 officers, which that would need 12 vehicles.
Okay, so these 4 are gonna put us at 14 vehicles, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So you'll have 12 patrol vehicles and
And
two
two-
extras,
Gotcha.
swing vehicles we call
And,
them.
and there's an important thing too that I've learned, in police fleet. 100,000 mile vehicle in the police department is almost like a 200,000 mile vehicle because of the wear and tear of the duty versus just a regular vehicle. So there's a lot more idling time, that aren't included in those miles, that puts wear and tear on those vehicles.
Idling is not good for your
Yeah.
vehicle. I've learned that. Fully staffed at 12.
Tim, did you have anything you wanted to add, or Mayor?
I do.
Go ahead.
Mike, do I have the floor?
Yes.
So, as far as the mileage on the vehicles that have 100,000 or approaching 100,000 miles, you have to remember that these are the offices and the fortress of our police officers. So it's very important that they have good running, well-equipped vehicles that don't break down, that don't leave them stranded out there on the street. So it's important that we buy quality vehicles. And Randy, you already defined a term, uplifting. That's a new one on me. You just usually say outfitting, but that's fine. You defined it for me, so we're good to go on the light cars.
I just thought it was
The-
raising it.
That was questioning, we were questioning that too, but then when we got the quote from Airwave, they called it uplifting, so it changed our terminology too.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Okay,
the quote
that's
says
fine, but you
uplifting.
defined it, you defined it to my satisfaction, so that's fine.
That raises.
And as far as the vehicle, the one patrol car that was taken out, due to an accident, did the insurance pay for that?
We will get some money back from that.
Okay, but not the full price to buy a brand new vehicle, is that correct?
Yeah, I can't, I wanna say it was around 10,000 that they were gonna cut us a check for, but I, don't quote me on that.
Okay. How long ago was that accident?
August.
No, June 27th.
Of this year?
June 27th.
Well, that's right, that was.
June 27th, okay. Could, city manager, could you follow up on that, please, and see where we are with the insurance, because we can put that towards the purchase of the new vehicles.
Sure.
Arsenian.
Yes, so you stated that a vehicle that's getting up or approaching 100,000 miles should probably be replaced. How many do we have that are close to that?
5 right now.
So we have 5 newer ones and 5 that we're gonna be replacing here shortly. And those are gonna be the 2 extra that we're gonna have when we become fully staffed, so.
Some people will be driving a high mile vehicle until we
We can
buy
get other
more
ones.
vehicles.
And that's why we try to phase in and budget, 2 or 3 or 4 vehicles every year, if we can afford it, but minimally, we try to do at least 2 vehicles every year.
Gotcha. And that both is, and that in total cost is budgeted and approved, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Mayor, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Nope, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, so
do
is
we
there
need a motion?
Motion, yes, ma'am.
Yes, I move that we purchase the 4 vehicles, let's see here. 4 police vehicle uplifting for $86,597.39. Is that correct?
There have to be 2
Well,
motions.
it'll
One
have
is
to
to
be-
just
Right,
purchase of
so
the
you have to do
vehicles
the
right now.
one, you have to do the first one first.
Right, so
Yeah, purchase first.
the purchase of the 4 probably first.
Okay, I move for the purchase of the 4 vehicles.
I'll second it.
All in favor of purchasing the 4 vehicles for $196,863.92?
Aye.
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 Okay, and there was no opposed. Now, Karina, would you the uplifting.
Okay, and I move that we approve for 4 police vehicle uplifting for $86,597.39.
And I'll second that one.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. That brings us to number 10, which is the city uses express bill pay to collect payments for utilities and other fees, including but not limited to the fitness center. The city in the past has absorbed fees in order to encourage the use of express bill pay. Using express bill pay has allowed staff to utilize their time more efficiently rather than being focused on payment processing. We have asked for Chase Bank and Express Bill Pay to do an analysis on what the possibilities entail and where the cost savings could be. There is a potential impact that less customers would utilize the service if fees were passed on to them. Different cards have different rules on how fees can be assessed, with Visa's rules being the strictest. Service fees are only allowed for non-utility types and flat fees that can be charged on reoccurring auto pay transactions, limiting the amount of savings.
Cannot be charged.
Sorry,
Cannot be charged.
cannot, you're right. I thank you for the correction.
So Vice Mayor Nelson, council, if I may, this was just because last council meeting, we were asked to present you with a policy on charging these fees. We were unable to get the exact policy in place of what we can, what we can't. So we're still working through that process. This was just basic information to give you guys, to say we are still moving forward with it. We just don't have the policy yet.
Okay,
So we probably, a motion to table it?
It's just a discussion, so there really is no action.
Yeah, unless there's any other discussion. I know Councilman Dixon was really looking forward to seeing this on the agenda, so if there's any other discussion as we work through the analysis on how much it'll save and what we can and can't do, let me know, and then that way we can try to address those.
Mayor? Vice Mayor?
yes, sir.
It says we're asking Chase Bank, why are we asking Chase Bank? Is that who we bank with?
So we contract with Express Bill Pay. We use their platform to be able to receive the payments through that. Express Bill Pay uses Chase Bank to collect those revenues and those fees. So so it's a pass-through. They use Chase Bank as the pass-through. So they're the bank that sees the transactions, which kind of credit card usage, those kind of things.
I polled several people, including some of my children. Would it be a game changer for them if the fee was passed on? And my children and other people that were younger than me said that no, it wouldn't be a game changer. They would continue to pay in the same. It would make no difference either way. So, to me, I'm probably a little stingier, but to me, I thought, that might rub me the wrong way. Maybe it's just because I'm old, but I think the majority of the people that I polled were like, nah. So,
My
Well-
dad didn't like it.
yeah, being the same generation.
So, my question is, are we looking at a 3% or a 3% on top of the fee, or is it a flat fee?
Well, that's what
that's
we're
what
still
we're trying to
working
figure
on what we're allowed to do and how much it's gonna generate, all that stuff, cause
What is the standard, or not standard, what is the amount that other companies usually go with that covers the cost? Is it the 3%?
3%.
yeah, I think most of them are 3 or 2.5, something like
And
that.
I don't know if you would know, but just roughly, what would be, like, without names or companies, like the most that somebody would come in and pay, I don't know, like a water bill, like say the school, like they paid $2,000, let's say, like they're gonna pay 3% on that 2,000, right? Cause if they weren't paying it, the city's paying that 3% on that,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Is there a possibility that we could just move forward with, implementing a 3% and the consumer covering that fee without having to continue researching and investigating?
Well, I don't know how long do you think you'd be able to,
Yeah, I'll-
get some more information?
I'll follow up with Aaron, so hopefully next council meeting we'll have it. But like I said, some things we're allowed to charge those fees on, some items we're not allowed. So, items like the fitness center and things like that, we're not gonna be allowed to be charged that. ACH checks and stuff like that, we won't be able to charge on that. It's mainly gonna be just credit card processing.
Is that going to affect the front office workers of knowing what you can and cannot charge, or is it gonna be automatically programmed into that
Well,
system?
that's why I'm working with Express Bill Pay to make it seamless as possible, to see what they can do easily on their side. If not, it could be cumbersome for somebody in the office, yeah.
And last time, you said that there was two fees. One was like 1% if it took it out of my debit card or out of my checking account. And the other was like 3% if you took it off my credit card.
Yeah.
And so if I was really interested in the savings, I could have it come
Yeah.
out of my checking account as opposed to my credit card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
There's
that's
always
why
that
I
option.
feel like I wanna do an analysis to make sure I know exactly what we could do and what the savings are.
Then that would give us factual information instead of us just kind of estimating, what do we base that on? I think doing the due diligence and talking with Chase and Express Pay, they have the information, so we'd be more transparent in why we're charging and how we're charging if Randy just continued.
I just don't wanna cause more work
Sure.
for the front office, having to determine, can I charge this or can I not?
And that's my
Yeah.
worry
Yeah,
too,
like
so
the
I wanna
3%,
make sure. And again, that's why I'm kinda wanting to get as much information as I can from the Express Bill Pay. They're in the business with this, so what can they do on their platform to make it seamless? And it don't even affect just the front office. We use the same program as anybody else out there that logs into Express Bill Pay and pays their own bill. So we want that to be, match what we're doing as well. So everybody's on the same page, it's automatic, and there's no questions on, well, you charged 2.5, why didn't I get charged it? Or, we don't wanna open that up at all.
I mean, APS charges you, so, and you still have to have your lights on.
Well, sorry.
Go ahead, Rob.
I have a question on that. If you read through this thing, it tells you convenience fees are not allowed for all types. And they must be flat fee based, not percentage based. So looking at this, if people
So-
pay with a credit card, like Discover, I think is higher than most of them, so all the credit cards, no matter how you pay, would be the flat. I mean, how's that work?
Well, that's why I think Randy needs to
That's what I
finish
did.
his research on that, and then
Okay.
we pass it through legal to make sure that we are within our boundaries and aren't charging fees that we shouldn't be charging.
Okay.
So is there a motion to table this until the finance
Well,
director can?
I don't think we need a ruling on
No,
it, right? It was just a
no,
discussion.
it was just discussion,
Okay.
because again, as Randy said, you inquired about it last time. Randy wasn't able to get the information from those other two entities, so as soon as he has that, we'll present again the actual documentation, facts and figures, as well as a policy and probably an ordinance to pass that policy.
Good enough? So is everyone good if we move on?
Mhm.
Tim, Mayor?
Mike, I have a question. You guys were cutting out really bad during much of this discussion. So one of the things I heard was a motion to table. I don't know where we are with that, but I'm in favor of tabling it. And quite frankly, I don't want the city manager to bring this back to us until everything is worked out. bring us a final finished product.
Yeah, that's exactly what the city manager was saying, probably when it was cut out. So we'll just let this go for a few weeks. Which brings us up to tab number 12, is that right? 11, I'm sorry, 11. This memo requests the City Council's approval and support for a letter addressed to North Country Healthcare advocating for the establishment of an urgent care facility in Holbrook. Holbrook is currently underserved in terms of healthcare facilities, particularly in providing timely, non-emergency medical care. As our city grows and attracts more visitors, the need for an urgent care facility becomes increasingly apparent. After evaluating this issue and understanding the impact on our residents and local healthcare services, it is clear that establishing an urgent care center is a critical step in enhancing the overall health infrastructure of Holbrook. North Country Healthcare has a strong reputation for providing quality care in northern Arizona, making them a natural partner for this initiative. A formal letter of support from the city of Holbrook would strengthen our request and demonstrate the city's commitment to addressing this important need. Anyway, the mayor has written several letters, and I personally think that we should advocate for all of our citizens to do the same. So I moved here in 1983, and the reason why I moved here was because there was a medical facility here at the time. I came to work at the power plant, and I had other options, places to live, but we chose to live in Holbrook because there was a medical facility here, there was a doctor here, there was a grocery store here, there was a lot of advantages. And I think we need to uplift Holbrook back to where it was. And I'm thrilled that the mayor has written these letters, and I would encourage every single mom or dad or grandma or grandpa to do the same. I think it's important that we have those kinds of facilities here. I'd just like to read one of the letters that the mayor wrote. This is to Dear Miss White. On behalf of the city of Holbrook, I'm writing to express our strong support for the establishment of an urgent care facility in our community and to seek your partnership in making this vision a reality. Holbrook is a vibrant and growing city, and we have witnessed an increasing demand for medical services among our residents and visitors. Currently, our community faces significant challenges related to accessing timely and appropriate medical care. The nearest urgent care facilities are located in surrounding towns, which often result in delays and increased burdens on emergency departments for non-critical conditions. An urgent care facility in Holbrook would address several pressing needs. One, an enhanced access to immediate care. Residents would benefit from having a local facility to handle non-emergency medical issues quickly, thereby reducing the strain on emergency rooms and improving overall healthcare access. Two, reduced emergency room overcrowding. By providing a dedicated space for non-life-threatening conditions, we can alleviate pressure on our nearest emergency rooms, ensuring that resources are available for more critical cases. Three, support for economic and community growth. An urgent care center would create job opportunities and contribute to the local economy, while also supporting the increasing healthcare needs of both our growing population and transient visitors. Better healthcare outcomes. Prompt medical attention for minor injuries and illnesses is crucial for effective treatment and recovery. Local access to urgent care would improve health outcomes and enhance the quality of life for Holbrook's residents. Given North Country Healthcare's outstanding reputation for providing quality care and your demonstrated commitment to community health, we believe that partnering with you to establish an urgent care facility in Holbrook would be mutually beneficial. Your expertise and resources would be invaluable in ensuring that this facility meets the needs of our community effectively. We are eager to discuss opportunities further and explore potential collaboration avenues. Please feel free to contact the mayor to arrange a meeting for any additional information you may have. Thank you for considering this proposal. She signs it, Mayor Kathleen Smith, City of Holbrook. I think it would be good if we could put their address on our website and on our Facebook page, so everybody could address this. And not just us, but people in Joseph City and Sun Valley and Indian Wells and Woodruff. This would benefit our whole area. Anyway, I don't think that we had a motion on this, right? This is just, yes.
So, I think it's a great idea if we do need an urgent care. And I like how the letter's written. I also feel that we could reach out to Summit and see if they're interested. I know that Summit is no longer, their ER is no longer staffed by hospital employees, but they're staffed by a different company that just has ER physicians. And they may be able to easily staff an urgent care better. They have more people to pull from to staff
So
an
the
urgent
emphasis
care.
for those letters is that North Country came to us saying, you know, we're here, give us a letter and we'll move it up the ladder. That's why those 3 individuals are above the person that came to, I met with the mayor and this person, they came to us asking for a letter.
So North Country came to you asking
Correct.
for a letter? Okay.
For Veronica James, right?
Alright.
Yes, Veronica.
Alright, I'm just saying, there's, you know, we should create, and because Summit did have plans to put in urgent care, and it got tabled for a while. But now it's staffed, their ER is staffed by a different company. So, and I think they even had land set apart. I could be wrong, I'm not totally sure, but it just didn't move forward.
Right.
Wouldn't it
And
be
I don't
great
know
if
why.
we got them in a bidding war?
Yeah, it would be great if we could, you know,
It'd be great if we could just get one of them filmed.
Yeah. What is Winslow Hospital?
they're
What's
also,
that?
they're also staffed by the same company that Summit is.
Because I know Travis
so is
Udall, who
Dilcon.
came and spoke with the city councilman,
Right.
he's over the Winslow Hospital now, and I saw him at the fair and we talked about certain things, and he's very interested in getting an urgent care here in Holbrook as well.
Yeah.
So he would be somebody else that we could reach out to see.
And I'm
about
just saying that
doing that.
because they're geared toward emergency. Urgent care is more, you know, it's downgraded a little bit from the emergency room, but you still want quality people in there.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that they're not quality, but when you're getting ER physicians, it's just better equipped.
Sure. Well, if you have contacts, I would say, you know, they should contact us if they want to create a facility here, and then we write a letter of support. Again, this was in response to their request for
Okay, I
us,
didn't, yeah.
us to do it for them.
Does North Country have the manpower to staff an urgent care? Would they, cause it sounds like Summit and.
I would say
Little
apparently
Colorado?
they do if they
Okay.
came to us saying, we do it. I don't know.
So I think for an
Well, they
urgent
have
care,
flagging everywhere.
for an urgent care, it can be
Yes.
staffed by PAs or, not necessarily doctors.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Thank you, and it's cutting out quite a bit, so I apologize if I missed something. But to Councilwoman Pack's point, I get exactly where she's coming from. And with North Country coming to us and saying, hey, this will help us, say, great, so we're doing it. But to her point, I say we go after a couple of them, bring them all to the table who can propose the best answers for Holbrook. So I don't think this is an exclusive invitation just to North Country. I think we should write a similar letter to Summit and Banner and maybe anybody else that we think of that, like you said, has the capacity and the ability to do it financially and workforce wise. So I'm all in support of sending out more letters.
Thank you. Robert?
Yes, Summit already has the building here that they're trying to sell now, the old doctor's office over there, so they already have a building. So they wouldn't have to be looking for a building or land or anything else, so it'd be a good idea to reach out to them, see if they're interested in it.
And North Country wouldn't be reaching out to us unless we had, the amount of population that could support an urgent care.
I think we definitely have that, yeah.
Would we be able to open it to the public to take in any letters that anybody from the public would want to submit to send with these letters in support of?
I wouldn't want to put the burden on our administrative staff. I would just say, I forget who said it, but we can put something on our website saying, here's the address, if you're in support of an urgent care, address it to these people, and just let them do it themselves.
Gotcha, that's a great idea.
Thank you.
I don't have anything else.
Tim, did you have anything else?
He must have got lost.
Okay. Okay,
Mike?
yes,
Mike,
go
I have
ahead.
some comments.
Go ahead.
So again, I think Kathleen is having the same problem where the audio is cutting out really bad. We ran into this a few years ago when it came to Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad, where we wrote a letter to the railroad advising that we support having two people in the train engine to prevent some, safety issues. And I remember the vice mayor at that time, Mr. Peterson, opposed that letter of support. And with that,
Tim, you're cutting out.
advocating for something officially on a private business. And this private business, North Country, I believe is receiving some federal funds. So I'm not really willing as a city councilman to support the letter of support for urgent care. Again, as a person, I do, but I don't think it's in our purview, the city council, to do that.
To support an urgent care.
I don't
True.
understand that.
You're against the city council writing a letter of support, but you would as an individual? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Okay, I think that's the end of our discussion. Brings us to number 9, summary of current
Is
events.
there a motion or
I'm
a
sorry.
second or a vote?
On,
I don't
on, on
Does
what?
say to approve or deny
To,
the letter.
to approve the mayor supporting such an action.
I make
Okay.
a
It has to
request.
have the backing of council in order to be,
To go across.
yes.
I motion we approve that.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I would move to a motion to support the letter in addition to reaching out to other facilities.
That's a good point.
If I could just say, either make a motion to support or not support, and then you can give me direction to go out and reach. That way it doesn't commingle anything.
Okay, so the motion has been made to support the letters. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Oh, Terry already did.
Cherry did.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
I made the motion, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can't second your
I
own.
can't.
So,
Mike?
yes,
Mike?
go ahead, Tim.
I did not hear what the motion is. I did not hear what the motion was.
To support the letters from the, go ahead, Lisa.
Motion to approve the letters of support.
A motion was to approve the letters of support from the mayor. And Robert
Thank you.
made the motion and Terry seconded. All in
Thank you.
favor?
Isn't it open for discussion?
Yes.
I'm with Karina. I feel like if we support this letter and send it off, it's almost giving like precedence over others that may want to come in and kind of shortening our opportunities for.
Can I just, it's
Mike.
not, because it was a request from somebody for support, so you're not saying, I'm only going with this, you're just supporting that entity. I will reach out to Summit and say, you know, we have, you know, we are in support of an urgent care facility, are they interested? And then just kind of work with them on that. I mean, that would be the same as anyone else coming in.
Yeah,
You've
Sharon's
got
talking.
2 broadband companies coming in and, you know, you support broadband coming in. Yes, whatever you're gonna do to bring broadband in, we're supporting it. You're not excluding one over the other.
Could we amend the letter to state that it was upon the request of North Country that we submit a letter? Cause it doesn't say in the
I
letter
don't think
that
that
we
would
were,
really be appropriate.
okay.
No, I don't.
I just-
Go ahead, Tim.
I don't know if you captured my vote.
No, go, you know what, you're breaking up. Can you say that again? Tim?
Mike, did you hear me?
No, not at all. You're really breaking up really bad.
I'm sorry. This thing keeps cutting out, but my vote is nay.
Okay, so we've had a motion and a second. We have 1 nay. Are there anybody else opposed?
Well, now you'll have to go by person to person, I think.
Right.
Do you wanna do it?
So,
Okay.
yeah, I think you gotta do it that way, so if you're waiting on me, I can vote.
Okay,
Okay,
okay, Councilmember Black,
Aye.
Councilmember or Vice Mayor Nilsson, sorry,
aye.
Councilmember Pacheco,
I'm gonna go with nay.
Councilmember Pack,
Aye.
Councilmember Tafoya,
Aye.
and Mayor Smith.
Kathleen? Well, it was 4-2, right?
Well,
Now maybe, is she on now?
Kathleen?
Aye. Sorry, I don't know if
Okay,
you
aye.
caught it or not.
Okay, we did now.
okay.
So the motion carries. Okay, going on to action number 9, summary of current events. Do you want to start, Mayor?
They're just quick and easy. Thanks again for the great fair and the boards that they did, and also the high school rodeo. It was a great success, and just want to thank everybody for it. That's all I have.
Thank you. I guess I'm next. The fair was wonderful. What a tremendous thing that is to have in Holbrook, and how well it was done. Just a few things. There's a wellness fair at the Senior Citizen Center, October 3rd from 10 to 2. And there's also a Bonko that on October 26th at 6 p.m. And the proceeds from that Bonko go to make up the food bank's Christmas meal boxes. And starting October 3rd, the food bank is going to be taking applications for Christmas meal boxes. We've increased our budget because of inflation and how many more applications that we think we're going to get. Anyway, Robert.
I agree with what's been said on the fair. It was fantastic. I mean, rodeos were sold out the whole time. A lot of revenue, I think, came into Holbrook. But I also want to thank the city staff for the work they're doing. I mean, the concrete's been cut, laid back down. I mean, just all in all, in the last little bit, Holbrook is starting to turn around getting beautified, should I say, and I just kudos to the city staff for doing that, it looks great.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
No.
Karina? Tim?
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, the fair was good, and we had a lot of people there, a lot of foot traffic. So I think it's something that Navajo County and Holbrook, really benefit from. Thank you.
Thank you. Terry?
I don't have anything, my thing, note was on the fair as well, it was a great time, there was a lot of people there, we went to the demolition derby, it was a lot of fun, they added some new things to it this year, which made it a little bit more fun, so kudos to them, and also what Robert said about the city staff, things are looking a lot better.
Thank you. Arsenio?
Same. Just ditto.
Ditto? Okay. City manager?
Did you go, Rita?
So I have a report from the 5th to the 18th of September for you. I've had meetings with employees and department heads to discuss their Q4 goals and objectives. I have a majority of those done. Met with an administrative team to discuss fee structures for 2025. We need to have some increases in our fees just to help us meet our overhead. So we hope to have that presented to you by at least the meeting on the 25th of October, I believe it is. Randy and I met with Dennis Osich from Osich Consulting to discuss an opportunity through the Greater Arizona Development Authority, a loan opportunity for some, what we're looking at are some recreational improvements within the city. Met with Mike Young and a pool company to get some renovation, remodel, design ideas, information that goes into this GATA type of financing. Randy and I met with Enterprise Fleet Management to discuss cost savings in updating our city fleet of vehicles. So we're just looking into that so we can see if we can budget that in for next year. I met with Danielle Monette. She's the designated advocate for the eastern counties of northern Arizona from Katie Hobbs' office. So we had a nice meeting. I addressed some of our concerns as a rural community and in support of rural communities just in general. So I got a good feedback from her saying that she's willing to meet whenever we have any issues that need to be discussed. So guaranteed I'll be on her quick dial to make sure that we keep in touch with the governor's office on any issues that we want to see. I did attend an ASU webinar, Tapping Federal Resources for Economic Development, and this surrounds coal communities that are in energy transition with the La Cholla facility being closed. I did attend the opening of the fair for public outreach, continuing to work on grant opportunities. I did submit an $8,000 request, a letter of interest for a pump track through People for Bikes. I should have feedback on that mid-October. There was a request for the update on the opioid settlement, where and how many funds were allocated in 2022. So you have that in my report. I won't go through everything that the county sent to me. I do want to, in addition to that, I would like to have Sean Cassidy recognized for revitalizing the ramps, the skate park ramps. We did find the extra wood to repair 2 of those ramps. And Randy just recently ordered a double step edge that some of the skateboarders had wanted. They requested during our skate park meeting, whenever it was that we had that, what was it, July? And then I would like to do a shout out to Misty Hatch. Thank you for her research on dollar savings in programs that we have and the cell phone policies and things like that. We are all staff are looking at ways to cut costs and save costs. in all of their respective areas, so I wanna thank staff for that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing I forgot to add is that APS is having a meeting at the fairgrounds on the fourth of October from 8:30 in the morning till about 12:30, right?
Yeah, but it-
9 to 12:30, I believe it was?
9 to 12:30.
Yeah.
But it's, you have to,
Ours.
make reservations for that.
Right, and the president of APS is gonna be there. So, all right, submissions for written petitions for items not on the agenda.
There are none.
Is there anybody who'd like to adjourn this meeting? Is there a motion to adjourn?
adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Terry,
Yeah.
Randy.
So you didn't say anything, right?
Yeah.
For your report?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh, no, I
I was
didn't.
like,
Oh, I thought you were asking if I voted.
no, I was like,